This video is sponsored by my favorite website creator, Squarespace, the best place to go when you want to get a domain or create a gorgeous website or an online store. So, I've been wanting to talk about this in a video for quite a long time, the reactions I get from others when I say that I'm child-free, and especially the reactions I get from other people who are parents. Because, well, first of all, it's often quite humorous to talk about, to be honest, and secondly, because I know a lot of you are on the fence about wanting to have children or not, and one of the fears that you repeatedly tell me about is the fear of being judged or confronted by people who have children. But you know, I've been an outspoken child-free woman for my whole adult life, and I mean, I have like 500,000 followers watching my videos, so I think I can safely say that by now I've gotten every single reaction in the book. From friends, from acquaintances, you know, from subscribers, and yes, definitely from random weirdos stumbling on my content and feeling the need to express their obnoxious sexist worldview. So, from kind and pleasant to overly respectful to downright abusive, what do parents have to say about the simple little fact that I don't want to grow a person in my womb? Let's discuss. Alright, the first type of reaction I want to talk about is one of the most common reactions I get online, although I do have to say that it's a reaction I find highly confusing, as in I actually don't understand what they mean. And it's a type of reaction that is based on the opinion that not having children is selfish. There seems to be two main arguments here. First of all, that not having children is selfish to your relatives, and especially to your parents, because they will never have the joy of meeting their potential grandchildren. Okay, yes, I do understand the sentiment here, but what I don't understand is, the people who are thinking this way, do they really feel like I should go against my own will and what feels right for me, and put my body and my partner and my lifestyle through such an enormous change, simply so that our parents can meet their grandchildren? Even if it feels fundamentally and absolutely wrong for me to be a mother. I mean, I'm sorry, but that sounds completely preposterous to me and really quite bonkers. Like, we can't have children in the mindset of what we're really having is our parents' grandchildren. I'm not a grandchild breeder. This is not The Handmaid's Tale. And also, David's and my relatives would of course not want us to do anything that feels wrong for us because, you know, they love us. They want us to be happy. So, case closed on this one. That's how I feel. Actually, maybe it's a good time here to say something I usually say in videos where I talk about not having kids. Like, I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. I don't care if you have children or not. I have no stakes here. Parents are great, non-parents are great. I don't think a child-free life is better than a life with children. I just think that a child-free life is better for me, personally, and probably for a bunch of you. Just like parenthood will be the right thing for many of you. So I come in peace and in love. I just want to lift all this up and look at it and talk about it and be outspoken about the fact that women are still being so goddamn pressured into having children, whether they want to or not. Okay, disclaimer over. Moving on to the second group of people calling me selfish. These people are not thinking about David's and my dear poor parents and relatives. They are thinking bigger, society, specifically the collapse of society. Apparently, we need not fewer, but more children on the planet. So maybe I should say that in preparation for this video, David has gone back over the comment sections of my previous child-free themed videos and given me a list of the most common reactions he could find. And apparently, and I should say really quite shockingly, one of the more common comments I get on these videos is that it should be required by law for women to have children. And here I was just a second ago saying that this is not The Handmaid's Tale, but it seems like not all commenters agree with me on that one. Apparently in these men's opinions, because yes, to no one's surprise, these commenters are very, very male, I do not have the right to choose whether I want to become pregnant or not. So I know I'm being a bit dismissive about this whole "you're being selfish" reaction, but if I can be serious for a moment, there is often an undertone here that's frankly rather scary, and that's the sometimes hinted at and sometimes openly outspoken racism behind these comments, because these men are white men wanting women with blue eyes and pale skin to be forced to pass on their white genes. I know it sounds like I'm making all this up, but unfortunately, this type of reaction is not even that uncommon for me. But I mean, it's no news that extreme sexism and racism go hand in hand, and I, for one, have no problem at all with my genes being put to rest together with me the day I die. There are plenty of other beautiful genes out there already to pass on to future children. Another reaction that I actually find quite cute and warm is a reaction I often get from friends and acquaintances that have children. And it's a sort of extreme respectfulness. That, you know, like when hearing that we don't want to have kids, David and I, they treat me and him with like such kindness and carefulness that often is a little bit unnecessary. Like this type of parent don't want to like push their normal lifestyle on us in any way. So they don't want to like bore us with baby photos or make us feel abnormal by talking about their lifestyle as the norm. And they never want to like probe about why we don't want to be parents. And they definitely don't want to make us uncomfortable by, you know, forcing us to hang out with their kids. So, you know, this is so sweet and well-meaning, but I'm sometimes wondering if it's based on like an assumption that, you know, since we're child-free, it means that David and I sort of, you know, dislike children. Because I mean, obviously, that's not why we're child-free. You don't have to be a dog hater to not want a dog of your own. Do you know what I mean? So like, okay, I prefer adult company to child company. Let's be honest about that. But that doesn't mean that I'm not curious and interested in their children, and even more so in like their experience of parenthood. Because I mean, this is an experience that I will never have. I will never know what that role and responsibility feels like. So of course I'm curious. I think I'm much more curious to talk to like new parents about how they're feeling and all of that than most people, if that makes sense. Oh, this next one is a classic. And just like the "you're being selfish" reaction, this is another one I don't really understand. The comments I get that having children is natural and biological, and that choosing to not have children goes against nature. What I don't understand about this comment is, like, what is so wrong about going against nature? I'm looking at you through a camera. You're seeing me through some kind of zeros and ones that we call the internet. Every single one of those comments that I've been getting over the years have been made by fingers tapping on an electric device, and is so by definition an unnatural act already, made by people who then, you know, go eat processed food at the closest fast food place. So why is it? Why do we only seem to be interested in what's natural or not when we are discussing women's bodies and women's place in society? No one is screaming unnatural when someone pops a painkiller. I mean, I took the tube yesterday. I flew to Sweden this summer. If I were to have children, I would use modern medicine when going through labor and then put a diaper on the baby. Almost everything I do and everything you do on a daily basis is unnatural, because the word natural means to be derived from nature, to not have been made by humans. So anything man-made is unnatural. So can I just say it? I choose unnatural, civilized, comfortable life over the natural world every time. I mean, have you been in nature? Dog eat dog brutality. And also, no painkillers. No thank you, I'm sticking to unnatural. Do you want to hear a direct quote from a commenter? This one is, well, you will hear. So, a lot of child-free women are extremely misandrists due to their sexual dysfunctional. Their failure with men, or their general sexlessness, makes them resent men in general, and as a result become child-free. I mean, this one is so bizarre, so I won't even comment on it, more than to say that David has told me that when he went over the comments to prepare for this video, he read a lot of this type. Now, this isn't very abusive or violent, because David didn't want to include the most atrocious ones here, because frankly, we don't want to spread the worst hatefulness to you. But the reason we wanted to include this type of comment in this video is to show like an example of the more blatant, hardcore sexism that's out there. Because what David has told me is that all the really bad ones, like all of them, are from men. And I don't know, don't you find it depressingly ironic with this type of women hating men that the only time they seem to show any type of interest in children or even acknowledging that children exist and have needs is when they want to force women to have a baby, like against her will. Abortion, society collapsing, the natural order, doesn't it feel like it all comes down to one thing? To keep women in their place. And there seems to be nothing more offensive to these men than a woman who knows her own mind and speaks it. No matter all these other reactions that I mentioned, there is one that's by far the most common and most easily thrown out by parents, and that's the "you'll regret it when you get older" comment. Again, this reaction seemed to be a two-parter. First of all, there seems to be a very large worry for me in old age. Who will take care of me if I don't have children and grandchildren? I mean, maybe this is just because I'm a Swedish gentle socialist, but I kind of think that, society will. Society should take the responsibility to make life as pleasant and comfortable and joyful as humanly possible for anyone too old to look after themselves anymore. I don't personally think that having children should be a sort of retirement scheme, like an investment. Besides, raising a child costs so much money that if David and I just put that money away for old age, we can afford a live-in nurse if need be. Okay then, sorted. The second part of the "you'll regret it when you get older" reaction is not looking so far ahead. They are more worried about how I will feel in my 40s and 50s and 60s, when I'm still young, but it's more or less too late to become pregnant myself without expensive medical aid or whatever. And honestly, what do I know? I can't predict the future. Maybe I will wake up one day at 53 feeling like, oh fuck, I've made a mistake. But it's like, why would I ever make a decision that feels utterly wrong today and has felt wrong for as long as I can remember, even from like back when I was a child myself, just on the off chance that I might change my mind and feel differently a decade or 3 into the future? Actually, let me take a moment and read a real comment that I got for you here. But I find a lot of women are in denial about the biological clock, and they end up with a very bad and sour deception in their 40s. What I want to know is, where are all these sour women in their 40s? I have met a few child-free women in their 40s, and all of them are acting like, sorry, but can't believe their luck. I've never actually met a single child-free woman who has regretted her decision at any age. I think it's because for women, just like one generation older than me, or actually women in my generation and younger too, being child-free is not a decision you take lightly, because you get so much pressure by society to go with the norm and have children anyway, even if it feels wrong, just because it's, the done thing. So the meaning of life, the natural order, etc., etc. I'm so sad to say that I have met other regretful women, not the child-free ones, but parents regretting the decision to, go against what felt right in their gut and have children anyway, to be a responsible, normal woman. I mean, child-free wasn't even a word 10 years ago, to my knowledge anyway. And growing up, I never met any happily child-free women because, well, a lot of women didn't even know it was an option to live child-free a decade ago, and there were no role models or representation in media except for vilifying child-free women as cold, ambitious, cutthroat sociopaths. I'm not very sociopathic. I'm not very cold and cutthroat at all. I am ambitious though, and proudly so. So what is heartening here is the massive number of women in their 60s and 70s and even 80s getting in touch with me to tell me how grateful they are to their younger selves for not having children, even though they were under harsh pressure from everyone around them. If you are worried about changing your mind, it's very comforting to know that there are many older ladies out there who are not sour, who are not regretful, because they went with their gut. Beautiful stuff, isn't it? Now, I've been ranting, I'm sorry. I have brought up a lot of reactions and comments that are based on anger and racism and sexism and on all sorts of nastiness. So let's leave on a beautiful note. Parents trying to actively convince me to have children simply because they don't want me to miss out on nature's most beautiful experience. The love that these parents feel for their children is so powerful and so singular and so overwhelming that they seem to sort of panic just thinking about, all us poor souls who will forever miss out. And I get it. I find this incredibly sweet and lovely. Let me read a comment from such a parent. Are you ready? Have at least one before it's too late. You cannot compare having your book to having a child. It's much more fulfilling and meaningful. And I'm not sure where this book comment came from, because I would never do that, compare my book to a child. I mean, of course I wouldn't. My book is made out of paper. You can buy it in a bookshop. Having a book out is not a substitute for having a child. I don't feel like a parent, but it does make me happy writing books. It feels meaningful to me on a personal level to tell stories and to connect with other people through language. I don't know why, it just pleases me. It makes me so happy. But it's not like having a kid. So yes, I'm sure I am missing out on the most beautiful possible experience. I'm sure the love a parent feels for their child is unparalleled. And I'm certain I would feel the same way for my kids if I did decide to have any. And still, I just don't want to. I'm all good. In fact, I kind of find life to be so brimming with beauty already that I feel like I don't need any more of it. I love and I feel loved to such an intense degree that I don't have any need for more love. The emotion is strong enough as it is. My life is satisfied and fulfilled already. There is no emptiness in me to fill. I am full. So what I'm thinking is that the critique I do get sometimes for being child-free, maybe it's not just people critiquing child-free women, maybe it's people critiquing women, period. One comment I got from a subscriber was that we women, we're kind of damned if we do, damned if we don't, caught in a catch-22 here, because no matter what we choose to do in regards to parenthood, people will have opinions. This is what she wrote, that if you have no children, the reaction is, what gives your life meaning? If you have one child, it's only one, aren't you worried that they will be spoiled? If you have two children, it's are you in a tight-knit household? If you have 3 children plus, it's that's a handful, that's too many. Or you're being greedy. And her summary was society will judge you no matter what you decide to do with your life. So, my friends, if we will get criticized no matter what we do, the silver lining of all of this is, of course, that it comes with a sense of freedom. If we will get critiqued no matter our decision, we might as well go with the decision that feels right. Or am I missing something here? As always, I can't wait to read your comments on all this. Are you a parent? How do you react when you hear someone is child-free? Or are you child-free or childless? And if so, what's the most common reaction you get to all this? I hope that I have instilled some calm in you simply by sort of boiling down these reactions and looking how the negative ones, they really are quite bonkers and not something to pay a lot of attention to, since they are, mostly based on misogyny. Of this, I'm fairly convinced. So, okay, you guys, thank you so much for letting me air all this out. I feel it was needed for me. Give me a little like if you enjoy this type of videos, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, of course, so that I will see you again next week already. Now, do you want to create a beautiful site or maybe start your own blog? If so, you should definitely do it with Squarespace. Listen to this, with a new guided design system, Squarespace Blueprint, you can choose from professionally curated layouts and styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. Squarespace is also amazing with blogging tools to share your stories, photos and videos to make it easy to reach your audience. You can also auto-post your content to Twitter, Facebook or Tumblr, and they have great traffic analytics so that you can see how many people are visiting your site, how long they're staying for, where they're coming from and what they're interested in, like parenthood or fashion or maybe books, for example. So what are you waiting for? Go get your free trial today at squarespace.com, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/gennymustard to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. That is a good deal. Now, thank you so much for hanging out today and for letting me air all this out, and I'm sending support and love your way. Hope to see you next week already. Okay, bye bye.